Greetings and welcome to another impressions video here at Words About Games, and today we're going to be looking at Ari and the Secret of Seasons. Ari and the Secret of Seasons is a third-person adventure game that feels like a cross between a classic adventure and a kid's storybook. You take on the role of Ari, the daughter of the Guardian of Winter, one of the four Guardians, four great sages with the power of the seasons, charged with protecting the world of Valdi and keeping watch on an imprisoned mage who once almost destroyed the world. When chaos rains down on Valdi in the form of crystals that wreak havoc on its weather, Ari must take on the mantle of the Guardian of Winter and embark on a journey to end the mayhem that's been unleashed. There are some real bright spots in Ari and the Secret of Seasons. For one, it's an incredibly charming game in its cutscenes. The story feels like it could have been ripped straight from the pages of a children's book, and I mean that as a compliment. It's a fairly straightforward narrative. Bad things are happening in the world, and Ari is the only person who can put things right by embarking on a hero's journey, gathering the power she needs for the perilous road ahead. But while it's straightforward, it's also delightful and full of wit. I loved getting to the next cutscene and watching Ari interact with the other characters. The back and forth between Ari and the people she meets on her journey never failed to put a smile on my face. The game is so earnest and amusing so often that it's hard not to be charmed by it. Secret of Seasons also has a really good soundtrack to accompany it. Some of its puzzle solving can be quite inventive too, thanks to the game's central season manipulation mechanics. Pretty soon after starting the game, Ari gains the ability to essentially summon winter. This power can be used for a wide variety of things: freezing water or traps, creating platforms or bridges, or maybe even cooling someone off. By activating these powers next to special crystals or other special objects, you're also able to expand the range of these effects greatly. Most traversal puzzles generally revolve around either figuring out how to reach these crystals or how to take advantage of their effects on the world around you. As you continue on Ari's journey, you gather more crystals to manipulate the other seasons, each with their own effects on the world, and the puzzles get a little more creative as you figure out which season's power to use where, or even combine different seasonal effects to reach whatever goal you're working towards. This also extends to the game's boss fights, which usually require you to use Ari's powers on top of straight up fighting an enemy, such as using her summer powers to create a warm zone that melts one boss's ice attack, making it dodgeable. When the game makes you think about the powers you have available and how to use them to your advantage, it can be pretty engaging. Unfortunately, it doesn't really engage you very much. While the game's cutscenes are whimsical and charming, and a few puzzles and boss fights are fairly satisfying, most of Secret of Seasons is far less engaging. Dull quest design sees you basically performing the worst kind of fetch quests, being told to run from point A to point B and back again for some meagre reward that generally wasn't worth the trouble. Go get the firewood and bring it back, go get the wigs and bring them back, and so on. One side quest had me walk 3 steps away to push triangle, then walk 3 steps back to complete the quest. Another had me run 10 seconds away around the corner and back again to fetch someone some clothes, some of which I got to keep, but couldn't equip despite there being a tab in my inventory for outfits. These are dull, monotonous tasks in their own right, but when put side by side with the otherwise engaging cutscenes, they feel like they're from an entirely different game. I generally found myself running through much of Secret of Seasons on autopilot, not really engaged with any of the world at all. Outside of cutscenes, character interactions tend to be incredibly dreary. Exploration is practically non-existent, thanks to everything from treasure chests to collectibles being marked on your map at all times. While it can be worth making a detour for a treasure chest and have some coins for upgrades, even those aren't necessarily worth going out of your way for after a while, because coins are plentiful and combat is so non-challenging that the upgrades are barely worth taking. The problem with fights are that they're too simplistic to really be engaging. You wade into a group of enemies and circle, strafe or dodge roll around their heavily telegraphed attacks, countering with your one single attack until everyone is dead. The only challenge that comes from fights in Secret of Seasons is a byproduct of an inconsistent lock-on and a misbehaving camera that frequently makes seeing your enemies difficult. What really grates, however, are the litany of technical issues that plague the game throughout. Screen tearing is a near constant companion, as is a juddering, inconsistent frame rate. I also found myself faced with a steady stream of constant, aggravating loading screens that completely ruined any semblance of flow the game might have had. Secret of Seasons is also beset with a ton of missing animations, clipping, and texture popping. And there were more than a few times I pushed a button prompt to interact with an NPC, only for nothing to happen. Even when a patch is deployed to fix these issues, however, I I can't say that Ari and the Secret of Seasons is a game I'd recommend. While the cutscenes and characters are charming, particularly Ari herself, and some of the puzzles are quite creative, the rest of the game feels really dull. I found myself plodding through most of it completely uninterested just to get to a few minutes of something compelling. There's promise here, and I'd be interested to see what developer Exion do next, but that promise makes the rest of Ari and the Secret of Seasons a fairly uninteresting experience. Thanks very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, consider sticking around here at Words About Games. Our content includes review impressions of games big and small, a weekly podcast dedicated to discussing the happenings in and around the games industry, weekly opinion videos, reactions, debate-driven top 5 and top 10 lists, a regular Hall of Fame series where we discuss our favourite games, and indie game spotlights. We also stream every Friday and Saturday at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. Most importantly, have a brilliant day.